In this video, we're going to review exponent rules. So we have the product property for exponents. And for example, that looks like x to the m power times x to the n power. And what we do when we're multiplying with like bases is we add those exponents together. So let's write another example that has numbers involved. Like if we have x to the third power times x to the second power, we'd want to add and keep the same base. So it would be x and then the 3 plus 2 power will give us x to the fifth. For our next rule of exponents, it's called the quotient property. It's when we're dividing two terms with like bases. So we have x to the m power over x to the n power. So the main rule is that you would subtract those exponents. So let's write x to the m minus n power. So if we had x to the fifth power divided by x to the third power, we want to keep that base the same. So keep the x and say 5 minus 3 is your new exponent. And that would give us x squared. For the power property, we would want to say that a power of a power is what we call this first example. We have x to the m power, and then it has another power of n, and we need to multiply those two together. So we'd write x to the m times n power. So with numbers, if we said that that is x, let's say cubed, squared, then we would say that that's x to the 3 times 2 power, which is x to the 6th power. In the next example in that same box, it says x times y to the nth power. So we'd say that we want to give each term, each number in that parentheses, a power of n. So it turns into x to the n power times y to the n power. A good example of this is if you had something like 3x squared. You want to make sure that you take it and square the 3 and you square that x. And so you end up with 3 squared, which is 9, times x squared. Don't forget to square both parts of what's in that product. And then properties involving 0 or 1. And so x to the 0 power is always equal to 1. So just some quick examples. 3 to the 0 power equals 1. 9 to the 0 power equals 1. 1,000 to the 0 power is still equal to 1. So anything to the 0 power always is just equal to 1. And the last major property we need to discuss is properties involving negative exponents. So for instance, if we have a times x to the negative n power, you want to move the part of this that has a negative exponent. So leave a, but move that x to the denominator to make that a positive exponent of n. So another example might be 2 times x to the negative 3 power. You want to rewrite it so 2 stays put, but x moves down to the denominator, and now it has a positive power of 3. Okay, so this is just a quick review of your exponent rules. Hopefully that